Welcome back to another episode of Dentside Depot. In this episode, we're going to be looking at my 1979 F250 Ranger XLT crew cab. Now, the story behind this truck is I recently acquired it from a gentleman in Montana, and it is now here at Dentside Depot awaiting a restoration. So let's take a look around this truck and see how awesome it is. So here we go. We have a crew cab truck. This is my first crew cab that I've ever had, and it is in really good condition, besides a couple small spots that we are going to talk about today. And this truck also has a seemingly really cool story about it. I have not done anything to this truck up until this point besides change the wheels and tires because they went flat on the trailer. It was shipped approximately 2,500 miles to me, and I'm really excited to have this super rare and super desirable truck. So this truck does not have very much rust on it. The worst spot is definitely the drip rails, as most of these trucks do have issues in that area. I do have replacement drip rails for it already. You will see that work done in a future episode. But this truck is scheduled for restoration in 2024. We're going to have 3 X36 F350 Super Cabs on this channel before this truck will pop up. But you will definitely see this truck next year. And this is the worst part of the truck. The good news is the rust does not go into the roof, so the replacement drip rails should work just fine. And that's really the only rust on this entire truck. The front clip is not original. The doors are not original, but the original door tag is on the door, as well as the sticker. The other bad spot on this truck is in the back. And you can see not the body mount, or the chassis mount, I guess you would say, is not broken, but the cab itself actually broke in the back. And we're going to talk about why I think that occurred here shortly. But you can see this truck does not have any rust. I'm going to open it up here in a second. This is door locked. There we go. It's in really good shape. The only other thing I've done with this truck is I just pulled the carpet out. I haven't even pulled the seats out yet. But there's essentially no rust anywhere. You're certainly not going to find something like this in the Northeast where I live. It's just not possible. This door's in great shape, although it's not original. You can see, even though the drip rails are bad, underneath the drip rails is in fantastic condition, so it's not going to be a difficult repair. This truck is a fairly unique color combination. When we look at the Marti report, I would assume it's probably the only crew cab in this color. You can see the floors are fantastic. I was super surprised when I took the carpet out of this truck to find that. I figured at least it would need floor pans, but that is not the case. They are 100% perfect. They're one of the nicest set of floor pans on any truck that I've ever had. Obviously, this truck needs a complete restoration, but everything is there to do this truck. It still has the original radio in it, which is correct. The dash in this truck is supposed to be black, and it is. So really everything in this truck is correct and as it should be. And this is absolutely a restorable truck that will get restored here at Dentside Depot. The frame is in great shape. This truck was sold new in Texas, in Houston, Texas. I got it from Montana, but it has not seen Northeast conditions for its whole life until now. You can see over here, again, really great shape. As you know, crew cab doors are expensive and hard to find. So if you have a set that is repairable, or in this case doesn't really need much repair at all, you use them. You can see the whole back floor is great. Get the seat up. And here's where we're going to have an issue with this truck, is I'm going to have to cut this out and make some repairs here. But you get what you get with these trucks. And I would rather have broken metal than rusty metal, because I can fix broken metal, but you can't weld to rust. So we'll get that repaired when the time comes. That's not a big concern for me. Same thing on this side. Not the original door, but the doors that will be used in this restoration for sure. Looks fantastic. An indicator that you have a really good truck that's never been apart is if you see this little piece of insulation right here, that probably means it's never been apart. This one's never even been up, it's still attached. No rust anywhere. I really couldn't believe it when I took this truck apart. Or I should say, took the carpet out. I couldn't believe it. Okay, let's pop the hood, and then I'm going to explain the story of this truck. See if we can get the hood open here. Okay, so the hood is open. And what's underneath is not much of a surprise. It's probably a waterlogged 400, probably the original engine as well. I actually stole the valve covers off this truck for the Junior Mint project, and I just threw these on here temporarily. Will not be using this engine, obviously. The buck tag, or the body tag, still resides on the truck. Something that I don't personally know that much about, and feel free to comment in the comment section, is where is the correct location for the Ontario plant buck tag? Is that where it should be? Does every crew cab have a buck tag on it? I don't know, because it also has this little tag over here. So that's something I'm not totally aware of. And all the super cab and regular cab trucks don't have a rivet. They have a Phillips head screw, but that appears to have the factory paint on it. So if anyone has more knowledge about that, feel free to post. Obviously this is an F26 truck. It is 4-wheel drive. That is the most desirable one that you can get. Looks like the gentleman who owned it was into rodeos or something. Okay, so let's get into the Marti report on this thing and the really cool story of this truck. Now, I obviously can't confirm the story to be 100% factually true, but based on what I've been told about the truck, where it came from, and what I found in the cab, I believe the story that I'm about to tell you is at least partially correct, if not fully correct. So here's the evidence of this truck. It was sold new in Houston, okay? Built in Ontario, obviously, like all the crew cabs. Sold new at Simon Gregg Ford in San Marcos, Texas. Houston DSO. So here's what we got. And I'm gonna shut this door really quick because it's windy. There we go. All right. So the truck was located in Montana when I bought it. And it was essentially abandoned from what I was told. Pretty amazing to think that a 79 F26 crew cab was abandoned, but that was apparently what had happened to this truck. And a gentleman out in Montana who is well known in the community for being a big Ford truck guy rescued this truck and went through the trouble of getting a title and everything else for it. So here's the evidence that I found inside of the truck to support the story that I'm going to tell you. I found this under the seat when I was working on it, a map, Alaska and Northwest Canada. I found a few receipts and some other things, along with a bunch of bullet shells, casings, and everything else. Looks like this map is from 1991. I'm not really sure. But here's what I think is the full story on this truck. And I'm just going to start from day one when this truck was bucked and then built in, looks like February of 79, and actually built on the 9th of February 79. So here's what I think. I think this truck was built in my super awesome map that I drew here. Truck was built in Ontario at the Ford plant, and then it traveled 1,508 miles roughly, according to Google Maps, to Houston, Texas, the DSO, and then released to the dealer. At some point, my assumption is that the original owner drove this truck to Alaska or potentially northwestern Canada. I have no idea where. And somewhere along that trip, probably on the way back going towards Texas, the rear cab broke, or it split. Obviously the roads in Alaska and Northwest Canada are really bad. So the cab probably broke or split. It was no longer drivable for whatever reason. And somewhere in northwestern United States, it was abandoned or left at a dealer lot or whatever it may be, and subsequently forgotten about. Obviously during that time period, may it be the 90s or the 2000s, I don't know, these trucks were not desirable like they are today in 2023. The truck is eventually recovered in the vicinity of Montana. And then at that point, earlier this year in 2023, I made a purchase on the truck after spending many months trying to find a good restorable crew cab, and it made its way to Philadelphia, another 2,000 miles. So you add all that up, from the day it was built, its travel all around the United States, that's 10,000 miles, over 10,000 miles. Now, of course, I have no way to confirm that. It's just an assumption based off of the details that I have for this truck. If anyone knows this truck or knows where it came from, feel free to reach out to me on social media and give me more information. But before we end here today, let's take a look at our Marti report and let's see what we got. And sorry about the red arrows on the report here, that's from the map. So it's F26, which is critical to these trucks, and that means you get one of 1,812 in 1979. 79 is not the rarest year, but it's the rarest year of the lowboy trucks, and in my opinion, the most desirable year. What also makes this truck special is it is Ranger XLT package. Now, you can only have two types of crew cabs when you talk about trim. You could have a custom, which was a base truck, or you could have a Ranger XLT. That was it. And I'm talking about 79. There is no Lariat in this year. There is no regular Ranger. It was custom or it was Ranger XLT. There was nothing else available. The paint on this truck, medium Vaquero glow paint. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a weird word. With light sand two-tone. Now, when you get a Marti report on a crew cab, it's going to be referring to all F250s until you get to the crew cab option. So all F250s, 117 had that paint code. Unlikely that there's another crew cab that has that paint code, but if you have one, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. So it's probably the only one with this paint. That was a rare paint to begin with. Okay, so we have the crew cab option, two-tone paint, air conditioning, AM/FM radio, which you can see still resides in the truck, non-stereo. It would say stereo right there if it was stereo. Tinted glass, which is still in the truck. Visibility group, which refers to convenient lights, the back cab light. The convenience group, which adds the delay wiper, which is a nice option. Midship fuel tank, which will be eliminated in this restoration, to be explained why in a later video, and chrome step bumper. So this is a super desirable truck. Now, a lot of you know that I'm an X36 guy. This truck is not as rare as an X36 truck, but it's definitely more desirable than an X36 truck. These are pretty much the most desirable Dentsides that you can get, being a crew cab four-wheel drive from the factory. Now, a few fun facts that many Dentside guys may not know. What could you not get with the crew cab? Well, first of all, you couldn't get a Dana 60 front. And I'm talking about low boys. Low boys only. High boys, you could. Low boys, you could not get the Kingpin Dana 60 front. It was not available. I know that to be a fact. It's right in the book. Could also not get Lariat trim, because they would have to make special panels for the back, and that was not available, including a Lariat headliner, which was not made specifically for the crew cabs because they're low production. You could not get cruise control. I don't really understand why you couldn't get cruise control in a crew cab, but it was also not available. That is a fact. If you have cruise control in your crew cab, it means that someone added it at some point. It says right in the book, cruise control not available with crew cab. And then lastly, camper special. And my thinking behind that was probably because the crew cab emblems are where emblems were, so you probably just couldn't have both, obviously. Now, you could have trailer special, but you couldn't necessarily, you definitely couldn't have camper special. So this is a really cool truck. You will not see the rebuild, the restoration on this truck until late summer of 2024. I have about 5 or 6 trucks that are ahead of this one as we speak right now. I'm always getting more, but this one is going to be a very well done restoration. It's going to get full paint. It's going to get all the best stuff that you can imagine. It's going to be an extremely nice truck when it's done. It's going to be one of my best builds. But we are not going to be touching this truck for a little bit of time. I'm getting it ready to back it into the bullpen here behind the shop later today, and where it will sit for a little bit longer until eventually it gets restored. If you're interested in Dentside trucks, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I have many more trucks coming up, and I'd love to have you join the show. See you next time. Thank you.